Good morning. You're listening to Central Wisconsin's 24-hour information station, AM 1320 WFHR. It's time now for the Morning Magazine, brought to you by Comfort Air Heating, Cooling, Plumbing.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Morning Magazine here for this June 16th, 2021. You have your host, James J. Malouf here. In part two today, we're going to be joined by Ashley Normington from the Wood County Health Department. Looking forward to talking to her at 10:30. Right now, we have with us Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Shane Blaser. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, James.
Along with our friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, I want to say good morning to Kev and all of our friends over there. Mayor, good to see you.
You too, James.
I have to say, you threw me for a second there when you came in today. I didn't expect that to see the beard. Yeah, it's nice though. Look, and it's summer. You know, the only time you can get me to take a razor to my face is this time of year.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise I want the beard. I want that to kind of to help with the cold, if anything else.
Yeah, it kind of ebbs and flows with me. I don't know.
How are you and yours doing? How's everybody holding up?
Yeah, we're doing well, and you?
Good. Thank you for asking. I'm not sure where you wanted to take things, and I know that I always like to leave some wiggle room here and let you bring to whatever you want to the discussion. But I can't help starting here, and I feel like it's where the audience wants me to, and where even you may want me to. We have good news. The bill passed to assist the Verso Mill purchase. The bill passes. That is so. Yep. There's some interesting, fun things going on with that. Hopeful things with that. I think there's some hope on the horizon when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah. So the Assembly passed a bill maybe a week or two ago, and then yesterday, myself and Alderman Dean Veneman, we went down to Madison and we testified before the Senate committee on our support for the Senate version of that bill. And so we're excited, and hopefully it'll get to the governor's desk soon here, and hopefully he'll support it too.
Yeah. So there's some hope there, and I wanted to make sure we touched on that. With this next subject, I feel like, and I don't want to speak for you, sir, but I feel like we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the past year and everything, and I certainly have done my homework on you and know your background. So I got to think that you're pretty excited about this too. I know the listeners just this morning I've talked to, just being in the gas station line and things like that, hearing them talk about this. The Wood County Committee has recommended and approved the new jail. And this was done 18-1 vote, nearly unanimous vote. This has been in the works for over 20 years, this idea, and the can has been getting kicked down the road for almost 20 years. I saw in an interview that they asked the one board member that said nay to this, why, and that board member's response was it's too expensive. And I feel like we've kind of already answered this and everything, but to the listener, to the person that feels that way when they see these things, I kind of feel like, well, it wouldn't be this expensive if we did this 10 years ago. And if we wait another 10 years, it's going to be double, if not triple, what we're spending. And let's be blunt here. This has got to get built sooner or later. It's going to happen. So basically what you're doing, if you're saying no to this, is you're saying, I want to put this on my grandkids. I want to put this on my children. I want to make them do it. I don't want to do it. I feel like that's got to be a tough situation to be in when all you're trying to do, not like you're trying to build an ice mountain here or some kind of fun little thing. This is important. This is a safety issue. This is an economic issue. It hits on a lot of different things.
Yeah, I agree. And I was in Madison when I learned the vote yesterday, and yeah, that's a tough position because, as you said, every year you wait, it just becomes more expensive. And I think anybody that's had any association with the jail knows that it's long overdue to be replaced or something new has to be done. And even from my years of working as a Wood County Reserve deputy back in the early 90s, the jail was old then.
It was outdated.
It was already becoming outdated. And my time when I was in the Adams County Sheriff's Department, we, in 1995, I was part of the transition team from their old jail to their new jail system. And Wood County is looking to build a similar type system that they built in the middle 90s in Adams County. And it works. And it's just goes to show you how outdated it is. And, that the money issue is real. it's expensive, and we're going to have to pay for this, but the necessity for it outweighs it. Last night at City Council, and I don't want to jump ahead on you, but same issue with the fire department. We have some issues, and last night they approved going forward and bonding and borrowing for our updated and our renovations to our outdated fire departments for gender equality and correcting some issues within the department. But you're talking $2.7 million there. And do you wait? Is it going to get cheaper? You don't know. And, and it needed to be done. And the jail definitely is long overdue to be done. And
I know that some of this stuff, like part of the problem with when you bring up infrastructure, especially if you're a politician, infrastructure is not sexy. It doesn't attract. It's not the new stadium. It's not that kind of thing and everything. So it's hard to not only get elected, let alone getting your constituents, your community to agree to this and everything, because all they're seeing is taxes, and I understand that. I pay taxes too, and I get that, but. If you drive and you are on our roads, you understand how important infrastructure is. If you are, like you said, if you have been to the jail, if you've had a relative that has been to the jail, whether it's working there or been there as a client, I don't know how you want to word that, but you understand. Hey, this has been a long. I mean, just drive past it. All you got to do, you don't even have to do any of that. Just drive past the thing, and you can tell. Hey, this is not only outdated, but I can't speak for anybody else, but when I hear the word outdated, I think unsafe. And that to me, if above anything else, I would think that would mean something to the community. We all, I would think the majority of us care about our officers, care about our staff that works in these jails and those sorts of things. You want them to be safe. And I understand that it's not a popular opinion, but inmates count. Inmates are human beings. We tend to think of an inmate, oh, you lost your right. You don't get a chance anymore. You don't get a say. You don't get this or whatever. For every person that's in jail for a life sentence or something heavy or something that we all agree, as a society, they belong in there. Right. You got people in there for, they wrote a bad check or something like that and everything. That person doesn't deserve for having one bad moment, one bad day or something to have the rest of their life ruined, or something, or lose their life for something like that. Their safety is just as important as any citizen's safety.
Yeah, it's a very linear system, and during that time, and that's how they built them. But right now, it's very ineffective, and it is unsafe, and I think it's even harder trying to manage that in that setting. And they've done a very great job. The sheriff over there and all the deputies, and so I think the controversy of borrowing and having to do this is there, but in the long run, hopefully we have a aesthetically pleasing building there, and that'll fit into our downtown, and it'll serve our community for many decades.
Mm-hmm. And this also has a revenue angle to it too, and stuff. While we are spending money, in the long run, we're going to be saving money.
I believe it's about $1 million a year.
That's what I saw.
They spend to house inmates in other counties, travel expenses, and it's a lot of money.
Adds up. It adds up. And I think, especially talking to a lot of people out there during the election process and the reasons why people voted for you or were thinking of voting for you and everything, because I never asked who voted for, who you voted for or nothing. But that was one of the things, checks and balances, getting back in the black, things like that. Mm-hmm. They felt that you would be able to do that better than your predecessor and that kind of thing. And honestly, looking at the data, looking at the way this has been in your time, I agree. I think that you have. And I feel comfortable with some of this stuff, more comfortable with some of this stuff because I know your background and I know that you are taking that into consideration, that's something that's important to you.
Yeah, and further discussions on the transportation utility is, one of the hopes is maybe we don't have to borrow for our roads. And so that means if we're not borrowing for our roads and it's part of that utility, we're saving on interest costs. And by the nature of paying off those debts that are still out there, it'll cause our levy or taxes to be reduced potentially. And so I think there's a lot of upside to that because, at this pace and I know a number of other council people feel very uncomfortable, we've got some business owners on there that, they struggle with that too, they struggle with, not understanding how the city can't, save up money and then do a fire department. But, $2.7 million is a lot to save up and then pay for it out of your pocket. But if we could save half of that and borrow less, and and trying to relook at some of those things. And we want to look at doing a capital improvements program where we have a very transparent discussion every year of what those projects are 1, 3, 5, 10 years down the line, so you can see kind of what's coming up. And me as a mayor, I can't throw in my special projects without it being discussed with council and then taking that plan. And you have to remove things then to include something else. And
Right.
I think that's important that the community has a say and a look at that, that year before, and being very open about it. And that's the goal you're coming up.
Yeah, the transparency is so vital, but also appreciated, like very appreciated and everything. That's something you guys have done from the very get-go. And
We try.
I think that it goes a long way with people too, even if they don't maybe agree with something. When you're transparent with them, at least that there's no hidden agendas. There's none of this. It's just what you see is what you get kind of thing.
I try to do.
And I got to say something though here, and I don't know. I feel like it is maybe being naive, but maybe I'm the one being naive about this. Where the idea that a city can save money, like I can at home, like I can, like I'm putting money into the bank or I'm putting money in my mattress or something like that. Like our city can do that. Well, I would think that it's no different for me than it is for a city. I can do that. That's a good plan. But then my car breaks, or I need new tires, or this. The city's no different. It's all well and good to say, well, why doesn't the city just do this? But if it could, it wouldn't have been doing it. It would have been doing it already, I imagine.
And then the other side of the argument is, then if we have money to save, then why don't we reduce taxes?
Yeah.
And so why would we? So you're trying to find that balance where you want to, try to put money aside to replace equipment, and some of they're expensive items, but in the grand scheme of things, a couple $100,000 for a piece of street equipment compared to a $2.7 million fire department, there's quite a difference there. So it's easier to save for that piece of equipment. But yeah, you got to balance that, because if there's extra money, then why are we collecting in taxes?
Right.
We're trying to find that balance to make it be responsible with, because we, like you said, we all pay taxes, and we're putting into that pot too. And
honestly, and I'll say as a taxpayer, and even though I have to say them multiple times on the air, and it has been taking up a good chunk of my airtime, I've been fine with the street closures and announcing those on the air every day. Every time I'm reading those, I feel good about that, because I drive a lot of those streets, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely could use it. I've talked to a number of listeners about this, and they seem to feeling some of the similar things too. Does it seem like there's been more action going on with that on our roads this summer than in years past, or is that just because we came out of a year where there wasn't able to be much done?
Yeah, I think we've got an amazing construction crew out there, and then we have amazing maintenance crews. So our construction crew got an early start, so they've been going full steam ahead. And our maintenance crew, with Paul Vollert and Joe Terry and Joe Eichstead, kind of they're trying to coordinate. So I know in my neighborhood, I live up near Lincoln High School, is that they came through and they're fixing all the catch basins to get them the right height. They're patching bad blacktop spot, because now it's time to do the dreaded pea gravel and do the maintenance. But they do all that in that area. They come by and they do the pea graveling, which actually benefits the road and extends the life of the road. And that whole area is done. So they try to coordinate those activities, so next year they don't come back and, we got to fix all these catch basins. And so that's kind of what they're working on. They patch the potholes and get that road in a much better condition. But they've been doing a really good job out there, the maintenance crew, and getting ready for that also.
Yeah, they're pros. They're really good at what they do.
They are great.
And another thing that stands out to me about that too is the speed you mentioned. They're doing good work, and they're doing it efficiently, like quickly and stuff. That seems, because all these closures are taking a day or two. Some of them a little longer, but not very often.
Yeah, they're efficient.
That's pretty nice. That is pretty nice, getting those doors, especially this time of year. We all get that. We all understand the game. It's Wisconsin. You've only got a good 2-3 months you can really work on these things and stuff. So the work needs to get done. But it's also nice that it's getting done quickly. That has been very helpful. I know the
weather helps a lot with that.
Yeah, Mother Nature's been nice to us with that. I appreciate it. What else do you guys have going on over there at City Hall and everything? I know you have a lot in the works right now.
Right now, amazingly, we're spending a lot of time fielding phone calls for grass complaints and people not mowing their lawns. And and that really and unfortunately takes a lot of our time. So, my plea out there is just mow your lawn.
Yeah.
It's, none of us like to do it, and sometimes it gets a little long, but we field so many calls, and we're sending our guys out on city mowers to mow people's yards after they've been sent a letter saying to mow them. And they could be out doing other mowing and other green space and other parks. And, so, that's my plea out there right now. Just please mow your lawn. Or hire the neighbor kid or
Yeah.
something out there.
There's God, when I was in junior high school, I don't know about you guys. I mean, that was one of my go-tos was I needed $10, or I needed to help my family or something to go mow a lawn. Everybody,
Exactly.
there's so many people. I don't know if this is a PC to say, but where I was living, there was a lot of senior people there that didn't have the ability to mow their lawn. Right. So, there's a lot of those neighborhoods in these areas and stuff. And
so it's that time of the mirror for us where we're fielding a lot of those type of complaints and nuisance type things. And, so staff spends a lot of time on that. And, the goal would be to see them be able to spend their time doing something more efficiently. But, we all know that junk and garbage and grass and vehicles, and those are all quality of life in a neighborhood. And, we all want our neighborhoods to be nice and kind of represent ourselves through that. And so that's the goal, is to maybe I'd like to wish that could go down and be reduced.
So let me, because I don't know much about this, and honestly, my parents are the only household I really know in this area, and I go over to their house just to mow their lawn half the time, so they don't really have to deal with that very often. But let's say I have a house, I'm not mowing my lawn. What's the first thing the city does to kind of get to hey, you got to mow this, dude?
So our code enforcement officer will go out and verify. Usually it's complaint driven. And so they'll go out and verify, and then they'll follow up with a letter instructing them to mow. And if they don't mow, we're going to come and mow it in X number of days. And then I just spoke to our park and rec superintendent or buildings and grounds superintendent about, what's the process once he is given that notice that Shane Blaser's lawns needs to be mowed. And so we're kind of working on that process, because sometimes, for the efficiency of that department, going out and mowing one lawn in a day is not the most efficient, and they're swapping out mowers. And so they try to accumulate a few of them and then go out and mow. But, the problem is the first one on the list may be on the list for a while, and those people are the neighborhood's still upset because that lawn's not getting mowed. So trying to figure out maybe a little quicker process to be able to get that done. And then we go and mow them, and then it ends up going on their tax bills as an expense or a special charge.
I want to say this and I preface it with, I'm not talking about people who are older and can't mow their own lawn, or maybe don't own a lawnmower, or some, one of these fringe gray area kind of things. Probably not a lot of people in that area, but there's certain people like that. Why do you do this job, sir? Why do this? Why did you choose to do, like, of all the silly things, like all the logistics that they got to go through just to kind of tell somebody to do something that you shouldn't have to tell somebody to do, you should just do it. Like, dang, like, you got enough on your plate. You guys got your lawn, the Parks and Recs, all you guys have enough on your plate. The last thing you should have to worry about is not only somebody not mowing their lawn, but then having to go through these things to make sure that they do mow it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's probably a whole lot cheaper hiring a neighborhood kid to mow your lawn than having the city workers come over and mow it.
I got to imagine that fine or whatever goes on that tax bill, and it is a lot harder than 10, 12, $15, whatever it costs to ask a kid to mow your lawn nowadays. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I've talked to people regarding bed bugs in their apartment to learning the mill is going to close, and everything in between, and it's every day, all day long. And I have a Facebook page, and I have many friends on there, and I get so many messages through there, and I'll get pictures of long grass and garbage in garages, and and that's all part of it, though. Trying to connect the public with the city, and if I can bridge that gap, that's a big part of what I think I'm here for, and trying to work through that and help our neighbors and our friends and the citizens try to make that process a little bit easier. Because if you don't work in government, it's kind of hard to understand it. And you look outside and you look at government and you think, boy, it's really inefficient, and it's kind of a joke, and is this really my tax dollars? But there's it's like a duck. They're really paddling hard underneath, trying to be responsive to the community and trying to do the best that they can do. And
I grew up in a political city and in a political household, and I've always thought that I understand politics and I know this pretty good and all that kind of thing. And in the last 2 years of doing this show and speaking with representatives, speaking with people like yourself and that kind of thing, have learned so much and realized there is so much that I don't know. And you, just to your point there, I mean, there is a lot going. And I think that we should be able to take that with almost any job. You know, especially the more you assume, the more dumb you look half the time. So just kind of getting into these things and looking at people and their jobs and just saying, you know, maybe I don't understand as much as I thought I did. And it doesn't hurt to have a little understanding.
Yeah, it's easy to criticize, and it's like, you know, then I encourage people to step up and run for an office.
Yes.
No matter what level it is. And you know, I keep saying I didn't agree previously, and so that's why I ran, you know, and here we are. But I encourage everybody to take a turn. You know, it's a city council's 2-year term. I think county board's 2-year term. And then you look at every level, whether it be city, county, school district. You know, I was being down in Madison. Every one of them has a wide range of differences. They operate differently, different responsibilities. You know, I have a lot of administrative responsibilities aside from, you know, the media and the public type things. I spend more time on the administrative end. And, you know, I was down in Madison thinking, wow, they don't have to manage and try to manage the operation of over 100 employees and departments. You know, they just kind of, you know, they got to fight the political round, which is a whole different thing that I would never have interest in. Yeah. Yeah, it's all different.
And it's such a good points to make with each one of those too, because each one of them has their depth to it and difficulties to it and everything, to where you really have to be I look at it like I do goalie in hockey. Like, you've got to be a special animal to want to do that gig, to want to do that job, and to be able to do politics, to be able to jump into it, even, you know, just 1 foot in it or something like that or anything. You've really got to. It has to be about more than the money. It has to be about more than, you know, all the things, the pomp and circumstance, any of these kind of things. You've really got to have a passion. You've really got to care about your community and care about what you're doing.
Yeah, you know, nobody gets into this for the money, and that's not the purpose. And yeah, you know, it's real.
Yeah,
Really,
well said.
real.
Well said. We got like a minute and a half here left, and so because our time always runs by. Is there anything you wanted to touch on we didn't get a chance to?
Well, you know, 4th of July is coming around the corner, so I'm looking forward to the fireworks. And a lady in town put me in contact with hopefully something special that I'm not going to announce, but I'm going to announce that look forward to hopefully something unique at our fireworks this year that I'm putting together. And when it happens, you know that that's what it is. And, and we will see.
Great tease. Well done, sir. Because, absolutely. Ed, that's the perfect way to do it. Like, because it's one of those things, you'll see it. When you see it, you'll know.
Yep.
Like that guy. Oh, that's great. Really looking forward to that. A big tip of the hat to the committee and all the people, the kids, everybody that makes that happen, these fireworks. And we're so looking forward to this.
Yeah, we need it. You know, we need this community connection and you know, to be able to get together and celebrate our independence. And, you know, I don't usually like to volunteer to do anything as a mayor because that's just not me. But I got the opportunity to do the ceremonial lighting and I jumped on it because I enjoy fireworks and I enjoy that event. And so I'm going to take advantage of my position to be able to do the ceremonial
There's
lighting.
Not a lot of perks with that gig. You take the perks where you can get them, you know? I mean, come on.
Most of the time, I'd rather pass on the perks. Sure. But I'm looking forward to doing the lighting.
Good to hear, man.
So I'll be down there and taking part.
Looking forward to it. And looking forward to you joining us next month, of course, and everything. A big thank you to you, not only joining us today, but everything you do for our community. Appreciate you, Mayor. Big thank you to Kev and all of our friends over at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media as well. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk again real soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll be back with more Morning Magazine right here on WFHR.